listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events most of all. Thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. We talk about that here on Ron Siegel Radio. But here's the idea is you're going to be confused by the media. That's their job, is to try and confuse you. We try and save that issue. Before we get into our intriguing content, though, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender. Rob Von Esch is with us. Welcome.
Thanks again for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing planner. Plan to save you money. I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone. For future reference, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Boy, you look at the celebrations of the day today, and you can look at them both directions here. National Create a Vacuum Day. No excitement there. National Thank a Mail Carrier Day. Well, looking outside, I don't think I'd want to be a mail carrier today. Homemade Soup Day sounds good, but the ones that really caught my attention of the day, they might go hand in hand, I'm not sure. National Hemp Day. Okay, not my cup of tea. National Football Hangover Day. That's what we're celebrating. I don't know. How about you? You probably needed to drink to watch that game yesterday. That was not the most exciting game in the world, unless you had a lot of side wagers going. That kind of changed the game around at one of the parties that we were at. Well, it was just friendly bets. There were no illegal gambling going on. I would not say anything along those lines. One pretzel stick for a dog in the next commercial. Take it or leave it. We'll just see how that goes. It does bring a little excitement into a very, very boring game. Moving right along, let's check the markets for you today. Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's pretty flat today, up 11 points. We're looking at oil being, check the oil here. Oil down $1.12. I don't even want to get into what does that mean in Taxifornia, because I've got a couple of cars that do enjoy gasoline. They eat a lot of it. So you have a gas guzzler too, don't you, Rob?
I've got a couple of gas guzzlers.
Not into the Tesla world?
No.
So we're oil up $1 a barrel here. Was it up $1? Down $1? Down $1.12 as we speak right now. What does that mean in Taxifornia? Well, we're probably still paying more than most states in the union. I can never understand how it is that in Taxifornia we pay more or right about the same as they pay in Hawaii. But I get, they like to tax in Hawaii too. So you just got to wonder, why is it that we're so high? I guess it's National Hemp Day. That might be why we're so high. Now we'll move right along and see what else is going on in the markets this morning, as I have a little bit of computer problems here. See where the rates are going. We'll check that one out for you. U.S. 10-year Treasury moving up a lot this morning. It's up almost 10 basis points. That is a pretty large jump when you're talking about the 10-year Treasury. So we're going to chat about that one as to why is it happening. You can find out the what's happening all the time. The why becomes more interesting because that's not found on the super secret website, google.com, unless you really dig deep and know what you are looking for. So we'll continue to watch that one for you as well. Mortgage rates, yeah, they're going up. Whenever you see that 10-year Treasury, the yield go up on that much, you're going to see interest rates going up as well. We've been chatting about that for quite a while as well. See if we can get this website to come up and tell us a little bit about gas prices. $2.25.6 is the national average. You finally have it where it went down a little bit, down 1/10 cent from yesterday. I don't even want to see what it says about Taxifornia, $3.24.5, almost $1 a gallon more than the national average, and we're 1/10 of a penny less than the oil-producing state of Hawaii. $1.89.8 is what they're paying in Missouri. So think about that. There might be some people that want to be moving to Missouri with the idea of the way taxes are right here in Taxifornia, but that's a different topic. I did share a little bit earlier, I don't know if you saw this on our social media channels, because the topic of the week is going to be, or actually it's going to be serious, when we get to the State of the Union tomorrow night. What do you think the biggest topic will be? My bet is it may have something to do with border security. And again, we just bet matchsticks on Ron Siegel Radio. Or, well, I guess we aren't even dating ourselves, Rob, when we talk about matchsticks, aren't we?
What are those?
I'm not sure anybody knows what those are anymore. Right? But we'll think a little bit more along the lines of the pretzels. You know, I'm a guy that, you know, I've been told that I'm a little oversized. But husky, well built. So think about this. One of the things, and I don't think the president will get into this. I wish he would, but I doubt if he's going to get into some of the stats. And you know, I'm a numbers guy. That's really the world that I live in, is a world of numbers. So 3 million is a number that kind of comes to mind. That's how many people during the Obama years, and I'm not getting political here, this is just straight fact for you. During the Obama years, 3 million people were 3.3 million were apprehended at the southern border in 8 years that President Obama was in office. 3.3 million. The Border Patrol says they probably catch about half of the intruders or the attempts. So that's about 6 million people tried, 3.3 get caught. Okay, we can understand numbers like that. Now this is where it got really interesting to me. A little bit scary, but very, very interesting. Where is it? 421,000 pounds of cocaine seized. Heroin, 35,000 pounds of heroin seized. 22 million pounds of marijuana. And 236,000 pounds of methamphetamine. Do you think they'll talk about numbers like that at the State of the Union? I don't think they're going to get there. Overdoses, 72,287 people died from overdose according to the CDC. Think that that'll affect our economy at all? Now, I didn't even mention the 3.3 million people that are apprehended. They assume that costs about $5,000 a person. Border Patrol claims about $5,000 per apprehension. $5,000. And there's no problem here. I mean, what was that? Lion King. That's the movie I'm thinking of. Do we have a problem here? Let's take it one step further about the wall. How far is it, do you think it is, from Tijuana to San Ysidro? 2 miles, maybe, give or take a little bit. Tijuana, there were 2,518 people murdered. That would be 140 murders per 100,000 people. San Diego, they have 2 murders per 100,000 people during the same time periods. So you think the wall works? There is a little bit of a wall there between the two of them. I'm just sharing ideas about in the news of what we may see tomorrow. It'll be fascinating to watch. Are you going to be watching? Do you have any desire to watch? And the other question I'm going to pose, because I do find this one fascinating as well, the selection for the lady who's going to be giving the response. Now, I don't even know. I've heard of her once because of the special election that she lost in Georgia. But I think it was a special election for governor. Think about that. You just got to wonder about this. Moving right along in the daily briefing, how about this one? That 6 times the Patriots have won the Lombardi Trophy. New England Patriots broke one record, tied another by beating the Rams 13-3 to win the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history and matched the Pittsburgh Steelers as the NFL's only 6-time Lombardi Trophy winners. Shattered the record for lowest scoring Super Bowl to date, Super Bowl VII, when Miami beat Washington 14-7 in January of 1973. New England rookie running back Sonny Michael scored on a 2-year run 7 minutes remaining to give the Patriots a 10-3 lead. How would you like to have had the number 3? Right, the number 3 and 3. I was at a party when somebody won, I think, about 50,000 matchsticks. Not there, but just because of having those 2 digits, the 3 and the 3. Fascinating right there. We're going to continue with some of these topics. It's commercials, $5 million per commercial. Tom Hanks narrated the first ever Super Bowl ad for the Washington Post. Bezos has plenty of money, so I'm sure he doesn't mind spending $5 million on a commercial. Adam Levine, how about the Super Bowl halftime show? I don't even know if I can call it a show. Is that just called a yawner? Just a thought right there. And Roseanne Barr, she might actually be one of the celebrities that follows through. I've watched so many celebrities say they're going to leave the U.S., and none of them ever do it. But Roseanne Barr says she's moving to Israel, at least temporarily, and might stay there. Fascinating watching that one. I don't know what it has to do with your money, but I just found it to be of interest. I do a lot of interest stories. Got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about whose mortgage do you want to pay? Mine's available if you'd like to. I'm just throwing that out there as a public service to you. Why would you want to create an LLC? We'll talk about that. What are some of the new laws that are in effect now for 2019? We'll get that update from our friendly attorney. And you are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing real estate, current events, financial markets. You're going to get all of that. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990. so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products for you. Give me a call, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with my friends there. Save you potentially $10,000 to $50,000 on the purchase of your new home by the Fast Pass loan approval, which is unique to Gold Star. What is happening in the market today? We're checking that out for you. As I mentioned to you, S&P 500 is up 3.99 as we speak. 10-year Treasury, now it's up 3 basis points. The Fannie Mae 30-year bond, that is down 14 basis points. And as I tell you every day, that's all the information that you can find on Google.com. What you're looking for from us is why is all of that happening? Well, we're on wait and see right now. There's some news that's going to be coming out today that'll be fascinating, but wait and see. Apparently, President Xi from China wants to meet with President Trump, and they want to have a chat. Maybe they'll get something done, so we're waiting and seeing there. Extremely quiet on the news front. Mortgage applications and jobless claims, we're going to get those every week. Be some auctions, a 10-year Treasury auction on Wednesday, 30-year auction on Thursday. And Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will be speaking Wednesday evening, although he probably won't say anything new, being that the Fed meeting and press conference was just last week. There hasn't been a whole lot of news that's come out since then. So we're going to be watching all of those things. There is some technical reasons that we're seeing market changes. That the 25-day moving average right near its ceiling. So we're going to watch that one. Again, that's technical stuff, and I don't think you're going to want to get into the technical stuff. Most of my friends even find that boring, so I'm going to leave that out. That's the Mortgage Minute. Again, brought to you by our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. This morning we are very pleased. We've got Rob Von Esch, attorney, in the house with us. We're going to chat about some of the new tax regulations, as I like to share with you on every broadcast when I have some of the licensed folks that come in here. Education purposes only. We're not giving legal... Actually, not me. Rob's not giving legal advice today. If you want legal advice from Rob, that is how he feeds his family. So call his office or give me a call at 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with his office. Go and set an appointment, chat with him there. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning.
So what's new stuff for the year? Hard to believe we're only a month into the year already, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It is incredible. Time's flying. It's an interesting, more complicated world in California for business owners. There's a lot of things that came into play for 2019 and that are going to also be coming into play in the early parts of 2020 that are going to impact business owners. And one of the things that stood out to me was that we are now going to extend the liability for sexual harassment to professionals, which means attorneys, accountants, engineers, real estate agents, lenders, landlords, for sexual harassment. So the law used to be that, of course, employers and employees had to watch out for that kind of thing. I think that's sort of common sense. And then the law was changed a few years back to allow for example, a client to sue an attorney that tried to sexually harass him or her in the context of that attorney-client relationship, or even a real estate agent and a client. But now what it's going to is the law has been expanded to say that even if you're not in a relationship, you have no contract and there is no relationship, you still have liability for sexual harassment if you're merely holding yourself out to that person as being able to introduce them to other people, or that you're trying to solicit them for business. Now think about this for a second, because I really immediately thought of the sales world and started thinking about real estate agents, for example. How much of this business is just driven on marketing and trying to hold yourself out to a potential client base as being somebody that would say, you try to hold yourself out as somebody that can influence,
Sure,
introduce, right? Help them, introduce you to third people. That's how business relationships are formed, right?
Absolutely.
You have no contract. So now what's going to happen is all of the flirtatious environment that you see at conferences, for example, where everyone is there trying to hopefully engage in business relationships. That's why they're there, right? Is that now going to create a wide open floodgate for claims to be filed for sexual advances, unwanted sexual advances, things that are misconstrued, innuendos arising out of all of those events that are designed for marketing and sales interaction?
I think it's going to. You know something, I believe that it's going to be a big issue right there, and there's going to be a lot of unintended consequences, because you already hear it now, and people laughed at Vice President Pence, right, when they said that, and I don't want to get political, but when he said that he won't go out to lunch with somebody of the other party without his wife.
Oh, I remember that. Absolutely.
Right? And, something with a law like this, you say, okay, something, maybe that's a protection that you don't want to go out to lunch with somebody, right? I mean, doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, you certainly are going to have a situation now where employers are going to be much more gun shy about attending events, hosting events, sending people to events. And when you send people to events, I mean, you're going to have very clear guidelines about what these people can and cannot do, and you're going to have to be incredibly careful about what you say. And it's almost as if you're going into a world now where maybe you shouldn't be telling jokes, and maybe you shouldn't be trying to have too much of a good time. Just stick to the facts of the business. The conversation's going to be very dry, and maybe that's a way you're safe. But the good times are definitely. You just kind of wonder, what world are we going into?
Right.
It's almost like it's just going to get so politically correct and so politically sensitive that I don't know. I mean, it's just going to be a very different business world.
When things like that's a new law for this year.
It's going into effect this year, so it's expanding the scope of sexual harassment.
Is there any way of challenging that in the court system?
No, the law is what it is. So unless you find some way to argue that it's unconstitutional based on a violation of the state or the federal constitution, you're pretty much stuck with the law, right?
So if I say something to somebody, how would that affect then my freedom of speech? How they interpret what I say is their issue. Maybe I didn't mean it that way.
Well, it's going to get into a discussion in court about somebody's subjective feelings and versus your right to say something that you didn't think was offensive, and you're going to have this fight. Well, am I being sensitive? Was I being unreasonably sensitive as the victim? And you're saying, well, I wasn't intending to be offensive. I was just trying to joke around or say something funny. And don't I have a right to do that? And yeah, you're going to absolutely have this discussion. And what the court system is ultimately going to decide on a case by case basis is what is reasonable. Were you being unreasonable, or was the victim being unreasonably sensitive? And the problem is you have different fact finders. Because think about this: every time one of these cases exists, it's in front of a different judge.
Sure.
Or it's in front of a different jury. So now you have different people applying their standards in many ways as to what's reasonable on a case-by-case basis. So it's very difficult to actually predict and advise people on what to do or not to do. And the easy answer, and I think what you're going to see corporate America do, is just say, don't do it at all. There is no more joking, flirtatious conversations. Don't start. We don't want you drinking at these events. I mean, it's going to end up, to me, forcing companies to kind of go into extreme positions and really change how they're doing business. And they're already starting to.
It's going to be great for the legal profession.
It is. No doubt about it.
I mean, because
lawyers win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, because where does that end up going to? Is it ends up going to the population, because every business then has to increase their margins to cover that risk and exposure.
Right.
Or as you've shared with us many, many times on prior broadcasts, might have to be looking at getting more insurance.
Absolutely.
Which ends up adding to the bottom line also.
Right. Absolutely.
That was a fascinating conversation. I heard that earlier this morning on one of the business channels. They were talking about exactly that, is that people don't realize that all these things that are going on, like this, affects everybody, not just the person that you're trying to regulate.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, if you have to pass on an extra nickel a gallon of gas because the oil company says, we go to a lot of events and it could have exposure.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, so that's an interesting one we have started with.
Yeah, it is going to get interesting. In fact, it's almost as if the law allows lawsuits to go forward in a situation where you didn't even know that you were being offensive and hurting somebody's feelings. I mean, certainly it makes sense if somebody tells you to stop, right?
Sure.
And you don't. I mean, that to me is kind of common sense, and everyone would agree that that's where you stop. But yeah, there's some people out there who just have that kind of personality, and they say and do things, and it might be offensive to somebody, but that person doesn't speak up and say, I'm offended, and it just continues to be something that festers, and then that's the perfect environment for a claim to be made. I mean, it's arising out of unintended consequences, right?
Yeah, do you think Rob, what's his name, Don Rickles could live this, could flourish in this world?
I mean, there's a lot of people you wonder, right? I mean, would they flourish in this new world?
And the whole thing is, I mean, that was just comedy, right? I mean, everyone was there to have a good time and watch what's going on. We're going to continue our conversation with Rob Von Esch when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Whose mortgage do you want to pay? We'll chat about that. What are the tax benefits of an LLC? We'll chat about that one as well. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender. Licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Are you 62 years of age or older, have some equity in your property? Maybe the right answer for you is the reverse mortgage. I don't know if it is or if it is not. I never answer that question until we're sitting down together. But I will tell you one thing with total certainty. It will never, ever hurt you to have the knowledge of the program. And that does not mean the knowledge of the program that went out of favor or was re-regulated in 1985. And that's what the majority of the people are that I hear talk about. One of the most popular ways to organize a business is a limited liability company, also known as an LLC. So what are some of the tax benefits of the LLC? We've talked about this before with some of the CPAs that have come in. Do you have a family corporation? That is a big question mark. They'll tell you that as of right now, a family corporation, everybody should have a family corporation. The only ones that work for the corporation are the family. Save you a lot of tax money right there. The LLC is a pass-through entity, so you're basically going to get taxed at the owner or owners' rates. That's part of the benefit of it. It is different from a standard C corporation, which are subject to double taxation unless you can find ways to legally write off things that you can't do in the other entities. There is some flexibility with the LLC. Got to understand that. LLCs as a sole proprietorship, if you choose to set up your LLC as a sole proprietor, you'll have to report whatever profit or loss the business generates on your personal tax return. File a 1040 individual tax form along with usually a Schedule C, but again, understand that. LLC as a C corporation, you can elect to be taxed as a C corporation. File that Form 1120. LLC as an S corporation, again, that's Form 1120S. Multiple owner LLCs as a partnership, you've got that Form 1065. All of these are different issues. Now, why would I bring that up to you? Because you got to understand them to understand what questions you ask the professionals. I am not sharing with you that you should be doing this yourself. You need your household board of directors. That would be the attorney and the CPA to help you with this, and they work as a board of directors so that you get the best guidance you can. Again, that's a Word on Wealth segment brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Chatting this morning about new taxes this year. Attorney Rob Von Esch is in the house sharing information with us. We got to learn a little bit about sex harassment on the last segment. And I'll share with you the typical joke that I use. I guess maybe I can't use jokes anymore.
Be careful, people are listening.
Exactly. Well, when you and I were in school, right, the tic-tac-toe board was an abbreviation for pound, right?
Okay, yes.
And you've got a tic-tac-toe board followed by the words, me too. I'll let you use your imagination from there so that it cannot be held against me.
Right.
Okay, what's the next new law that we should be talking about, Rob?
Okay, so an employment-related development in the law, and this one shows up as Labor Code 432.3 and 1197.5. And by the way, the sexual harassment law that I was talking about is Civil Code 51.9, if anybody wants to take a look at that. Okay, so back to the other labor code provision I just talked about, though, which was 432.3 and 1197.5. This is now clarifying a law that caused some confusion last year, which basically said
causing confusion?
Right.
Who would have ever thought something like that?
I know.
Surprise!
Okay.
And it was making people's lives difficult, and who would have thought that a law could do that, right? And basically what this law was saying is that you're not allowed to inquire into somebody's salary history when you're trying to interview them and consider hiring them. This new law that has now come into effect basically says that the employers can ask about an employee's salary history for purposes of finding out about their salary expectation. In fact, let me clarify. What you can do is ask about their salary expectations, which really isn't probably all that much different from their salary history in real life. But you need to ask about their you can ask about their salary expectations. So
I want to make $1 million a year, Rob.
Right.
I got big dreams, right? I mean, that doesn't mean it's a reality.
Right. And this law was actually causing problems for businesses because there's a lot of businesses you see when they advertise, they don't want to tell you what the pay is, right? And there's reasons for that. I mean, I think one reason is just common negotiation, right? Nobody wants to be the first one to throw the number out. You kind of want to see what the market is going to require, right? So if you're an employer, especially small businesses seem to be more apt to this. They're not necessarily sure what the going rate is. They're not hiring as frequently as a big company is. So they don't necessarily say, hey, I'm willing to pay $55,000 a year for this position. So they just advertise saying, we're hiring for this position.
Sure.
Send us your resume. And then they're kind of wanting to see from the interview process, what is it that people are asking for in salary so that they can gauge what they're going to have to pay. And then ultimately, they want to try to find the best one at the lowest price, right?
That's the idea, right? I mean, if you can find someone who can do the job and save you some money, that's what you're in business for.
Right. So when the law last year was saying you can't ask about somebody's salary history, it was making things difficult and confusing for businesses on how they go about hiring. In fact, what some people started to say is, well, you just have to tell the world what it is you're going to pay. You can't just start doing interviews and then seeing what it might cost you to hire somebody.
Seems
you have to
backwards.
First say, yeah, exactly. So now what the law is saying is, all right, you can go ahead and ask somebody what their salary expectation is in the interview. And you can ask that question so long as your reason for doing it isn't to be discriminatory. But otherwise, if you have a legitimate business reason...
Wasn't the interview process discriminatory?
Well, yeah.
Right?
Depending on who you talk to, yeah.
Well, you have 10 people that apply, and you've got to find some reason to exclude however many that you don't have open positions for.
Yeah, and so from that standpoint, you're right. I think what I meant is illegal discrimination based on sex, race, gender, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you say, I've got to find something that, that's my whole job as an interviewer.
Right.
But then you go and you look at some of the affirmative action things and say, well, but no, I've got to find X number of, the one of the things they're trying to put through, or maybe they did, where you have to have the different or genders, races on a board of directors.
Right.
Right? So aren't I discriminating against men if I have to have a woman on there?
Right. Legal discrimination.
Yeah. So now I have to discriminate when I'm allowed to, when it's proper, and not discriminate when it's not proper.
Right. I mean, now you're going into the age-long debate over affirmative action, right? Certain discrimination is okay.
Oh, holy cow. And I got to try and figure all these things out.
Right.
I'm just a business guy, Rob. I'm not trying to understand all this stuff.
But this one's trying to make it easier for you as the business guy, because even the legislature recognized that this was complicating things if you're not going to let employers ask about how much money do the potential applicants want. It's a way of avoiding everyone wasting time, right?
Okay. Well, that's good.
That's good. This is a good one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we got that one down now.
Yeah, I think the state of California got this one right, so we can chalk this one up as a good thing for the state of California.
They don't do very many of those. We got to count them when they can.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, so employers, if you have female employees, which of course you do.
You better, else you're going to get sued for discrimination.
Right. And those female employees are either pregnant or post-pregnancy and they're lactating. You have to provide them with a private area where they can go to pump or do whatever they need to do to express themselves.
Okay.
And so before, it used to be that the employer would just say, well, go to the restroom and there's a private stall in there and you can do that. That's not okay anymore. Now the employer actually has to provide a private area that's not just the bathroom that everyone else is using, that's near the employee's workstation to where they can go and do this and express themselves. So that's another thing. So employers, if you have the women working for you and they become pregnant or they're just post-pregnancy and they've now returned from maternity leave, for example, make sure that you give them some area other than a stall in the bathroom that everyone else is going to be in to go and do this. Otherwise, you might find yourself in trouble.
So you might have to go through and go into under construction and build a whole new area. So if you've got an office that has one bullpen area, right, or no offices, all the offices are window.
Right.
You have to go into construction to
get a screen. I mean, I don't know how far it's going to go because this hasn't been interpreted yet. I mean, I imagine you might just say, hey, just go and buy like a cubicle thing with a little curtain that you can pull across it. I mean, I imagine there's a cheap solution, but yeah, you have to do something, right? If you're in the cool office that's all windows and in glass and there is no privacy, well, you got to do something to at least make this area private.
Again, goes back to the same idea that it's going to cost everybody because I'm a business owner and I can't pay I've got to cut the expenses or validate or make a profit. So I may have to cut everybody's salary by a little bit to pay for this thing just in case it happens.
Yeah, and to me the interesting things in the law that I'm seeing, the trends I'm seeing is so many laws are really based on making things more prohibitive for the employers. I mean, you're just seeing there's just more and more rules about what you can and can't do as the employer. So I would really encourage people that are operating businesses to go out and take a look at, just do a Google search in Google, what is new for 2019, and if you don't already know, go learn what the laws already are too, because ignorance is not an excuse.
Wow.
Saying I didn't know, and there's this new law that just came into place, and I didn't know, nobody told me about that new law. It's not an excuse. You're gonna get nailed in court, so to speak, if you don't know what the rules are.
And they wonder why some of us have our administrative staff and repetitive processes done in the Philippines. You just got to wonder, right? You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, whose mortgage do you want to pay? And more on the new laws with Rob Von Esch. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Sergio, we're going to ask our attorney friend Rob Von Esch that exact question for you as soon as we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel
Endorsed or
Team
sponsored by any government agency.
306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Well, welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today. Being brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Get online, check it out, text ATP to 79564. Get on a board of directors. That would be your attorney, CPA, estate planning attorney, insurance folks, all the folks that you need to be helping you develop your plans for life. Whose mortgage do you want to pay, yours or your landlord's? There are some people who haven't purchased homes because they are uncomfortable taking on the obligation of a mortgage. However, everyone should realize that unless you are living with your parents rent-free, you are paying a mortgage, either yours or your landlord's. As Entrepreneur Magazine, a premier source for small business, explained in their article, 12 Practical Steps to Getting Rich. Quote, while renting on a temporary basis isn't terrible, you should most certainly own the roof over your head if you're serious about your finances. It won't make you rich overnight, but by renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. In effect, you're making someone else rich, unquote. With home prices rising, come on, you gotta love it when these things come up in front of you. Many renters are concerned about their house buying power. Mike Frantantoni, chief economist at MBA, explained the spring home buying season is almost upon us, and if rates stay lower, inventories continues to grow, and the job market maintains its strength, we expect to see a solid spring market. As an owner, your mortgage payment is a form of forced savings, which allows you to build equity in your home that you can tap into later in life. As a renter, you guarantee the landlord is the person building that equity. As mentioned before, interest rates are still at historic lows, making it one of the best times to secure a mortgage and make a move into your dream home. Freddie Mac, their latest report shows that rates across the country were at 4.46 last week. Bottom line, if you're looking for a primary residence, first time considering a vacation home, now may be the time to buy. We also have, don't forget, the Get Mortgage Ready program from Ron Siegel Radio, totally free. Got a great budgeting tool, mbelinks.com/budget. Put all of your information in there, safe, secure portal, read only, so nobody can change it, even you in the portal. But it does allow you to build that budget, build that security, put in your goals. Maybe one of them is to buy that first home. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Checking in again. So, Sergio, we're going to throw your question right at Rob as we get started. When are these laws going into effect? And is there a grace period?
So they went into effect at the start of this year, and no grace period.
No
so
grace
that's what
period.
I was talking about before. Employers, you better get up to speed quick.
Yeah, so there you go, Sergio. They're already in effect. So might be more business for you, Sergio, because it might have people that are getting in trouble over getting divorces and whatnot. I better not go any further. I'll get myself in trouble there. Okay, Rob, what's we've got a few of them that we've already talked about here. We talked about sexual harassment. If you missed that earlier in the broadcast, the replay is available. Employment laws. Lactating. We talked to Rob about lactating females. Okay.
You should see the grin on Ron's face right now.
Those of you watching on RonSiegelRadio.tv will notice, and Rob's turning red. So we got all this stuff going on. Okay.
So let's see. I also have here a new law that prohibits an employer from requiring the execution of a release or non-disparagement agreement in exchange for any condition of employment. So that means as you're getting promoted from one position to another, or you're getting pay raises, or the company just decides to try to get people to sign non-disparagement agreements because they want to lessen their liability exposure.
I'm a simple guy. What is a disparagement agreement?
Oh, sorry. That means that we're going to keep quiet about things that have happened and not publicly talk about the bad things that have happened at the workplace.
Okay.
So it's a way to keep a lid on things.
I think our president uses that a lot.
He
right?
did, yeah. Didn't work so well. He does.
So you can't do that anymore.
You cannot, and it is now expressly illegal and a violation of our state's law if an employer asks an employee to sign an agreement like that. It is an unenforceable agreement.
So how does that work when you've got corporations that are not incorporated in California, yet they've got employees in California? Which law do we have to follow?
Oh, I see that happen all the time. And you see out-of-state companies, bigger ones, that just have surprisingly no real understanding of what their business environment is like here in the state of California. And they might try to utilize the law of Delaware as a popular one.
Sure.
Because they believe that's more friendly. If your employees are here and are living and working here in California, you are subject to the laws of the state of California. So you must comply with these things.
So if you're a multi-state corporation, you have to follow the laws of every state.
You have to follow the laws of the state where your employees are. That's right.
Okay. So then the question becomes, as an employer, if I've got an employee that, if I've got a Michigan company and an employee that lives in California but travels. So I have to, and then you've got conflicting laws, say from Nevada to, so there's states in America that are different than than the laws of California.
Right.
But I don't always consider California, the Venezuelan Republic of California, right? Not quite the same as some of the other states. Do you have to try and figure out how to mesh that?
No, I think then you get into some practical analysis of a situation. So, for example, if I've got somebody who's traveling all over the place and I'm trying to figure out, what law might apply to that person as an employee, I think the simple first place you would start is, what W-2 are you issuing them? Are you issuing them one that's from the state of California or from a different state? If it's California, I think that's the answer to your question.
Gotcha. Okay. Because it can be confusing. Right, and you don't want to. I did have one company that I worked with at one time that said they spend more time and money hiring compliance people than originators or salespeople.
Right, it's incredibly expensive. And what I try to encourage my clients to do all the time is get a good insurance professional. Spend some time with that person finding out what you can purchase as far as insurance products to minimize some of this risk. To the extent that you can afford the insurance and you can buy it, I would encourage you to do so as a business owner, because I truly believe, because I've seen it happen, a business owner's biggest risk in many cases are their own employees. Those are the claims that are difficult to insure against, and those are the claims that are incredibly expensive to deal with, and they're also very difficult to predict. There's just...
And it makes it a lot easier that way, I believe, because one thing that you get from every insurance company is a lot bigger pockets than almost all of us have.
Right.
Right, and they've got a whole staff of attorneys to try and minimize their expenses. So if you turn the risk over to them, sell them or buy that risk protection,
right,
you have a finite exposure.
And
or you hope you do.
The law here in California is so encouraging for the plaintiff attorneys to file these claims against employers, because if they could just show, this is an extreme example, but $1 of injury that their client has sustained, they still get to get their attorney's fees. And a lot of these attorneys will say that they're worth $450 to $600 an hour.
Sure.
And they file these motions to get these attorney's fees back, and that's what's driving all of these claims. It's very lucrative for the plaintiff's attorneys that do them. On the other hand, the employers, even if they prove they're right, don't get their attorney's fees back. That's not the way the statute works.
And the interesting part of that is you look with the Americans with Disabilities Act, right? Is the intent to get more legal fees, or is the intent to get more accessibility for somebody with disability?
Well, if you were to look at the stated intent in the ADA law, it's to get accessibility. But what really happens is the exact same thing that you see happen in the employment litigation world. You have all of these attorneys who have very high hourly rates on the plaintiff's side, filing claims because they know that even if they can show the most trivial of violation of an ADA standard, they're going to get a big chunk of attorney's fees.
Unbelievable. It's hard to be in business in California.
It's tough.
Right? I mean, you're almost better being an employee and not have a California business anymore.
But then again, California is a great place, right? I mean, why is it so expensive? Because in a lot of ways it's worth it, right? I mean, it's great weather. Where else can you go and drive 45 minutes to go ski in world-class powder? Go enjoy the ocean that's 45 minutes away in the other direction from where you and I are sitting now, I mean, the worst thing that happened to us is we've got a few days of rain, right?
Exactly. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. More information from Rob Von Esch. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. Be happy to put you in touch with him. Protect yourself, protect your business, protect your family, and you have to have a great attorney on your household board of directors. And remember, set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.